Hey guys, this is Hidden Ranger streaming with another reaction video, and this one I'm really excited about. It's the Captain Marvel trailer for next year, 2019. Um, Marvel just released it. It's in fact, this particular video is from the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel, and yes, I really like the Captain Marvel character. I like particularly Carol Danvers because there's been a number of incarnations of Captain Marvel across the years. Marvel, DC, and even before that, Fawcett Comics. But that is a long story. This is the Captain Marvel version, and she is it's the Carol Danvers version, and she has risen to prominence within the past decade because I guess Marvel finally figured out that they're Marvel and they have a character named Captain Marvel. Maybe that character should be a top tier character at the forefront. I mean, it's possible that they finally figured that out. Like, I would have figured, it's kind of common knowledge, or I mean, like, if you've got a if you've got Marvel comics, and you have a character named Captain Marvel, you might as well make them the top character. I mean, I'm just saying. Um, Carol Danvers used to be Ms. Marvel. In fact, the Ms. was important because she was meant to be a feminist sort of superhero. And yeah. So, yeah, she was meant to be a feminist sort of superhero, and Ms. was, I guess, a feminist thing to do with titles rather than Miss or or Mrs. It's just Miss and respect, that kind of thing. But yeah, so sometime within like past decade or a little bit more, because it is 2018. So I think by 2008 she might have already been Captain Marvel, but I'm kind of fuzzy about that. Um, she graduated from the Ms. Marvel title to Captain Marvel because well, there wasn't another character that had that name that was using the Captain Marvel name at the time, so she's like, cool, I'm doing it. And she had her costume redesigned to look like something a bit more military and a bit more, well, kind of like the kind of character that, or the kind of costume that maybe Captain America would wear, but in a way that was still unique and still worked for her. Rather than black bathing suit, thigh high boots. Yeah, it was kind of a weird design. I mean, it was still an aesthetically nice looking design, just nothing that really hinted toward the fact that Carol Danvers in the Air Force, and was a very was a very focused sort of highly achieving character. So anyway, with all that said, I will react to this video. Also, something I'm noticing is this frame, this fiery effect. I wonder if it's intentional or completely accidental, but there's something about this that reminds me of the Phoenix effect. From from Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix Saga, that sort of thing. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. Ow. Blockbuster. This tells you it's a period piece.
War is a universal language. I know a renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
Huh.
Space invasion, big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today.
So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain. I keep having these memories. I see flashes. I think I had a life here. But I can't tell if it's real.
We have no idea what threats are out there. We can't do this alone. We need you.
I'm not what you think I am.
Yes. Okay. Holy crap. Like, holy carp. I'm liking. I'm definitely liking. Okay, let me think. How do so what it's looking like is they're going with Carol Danvers with her origin a as an Air Force brat, turned Air Force pilot, turned high-ranking person and all that, and they're also going with the way they're approaching her origin, I guess, is that she was maybe abducted by the Kree while she was out piloting, and then she maybe experimented on, given these superpowers, and then, like, the way she was interacting with the blockbuster, and particularly with what looked like that mall full of people, that looks like she had this very distant stranger in a strange land sort of look, like, who are these people? And that happened early on in the trailer, so at first I was thinking, wait, are they going to remove her origin completely as Carol Danvers and just make her an alien who's disguised as a human? Like, that didn't really make sense, but clearly that's not what they're doing. That's cool. Let's see.
Space invasion.
Oh yeah. I like this idea of
Space invasion. Big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today.
Yep, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, who's a lot younger, like the Agent Fowler from Transformers Prime. If anybody's seen that animated series, they're one of their human allies is this government agent who's this kind of middle-aged black guy, kind of overweight, always in a suit, always kind of looks put upon, voiced by Ernie Hudson, Winston from the Ghostbusters. Like, that was what I immediately thought of the moment I started seeing set pictures of what Samuel L. Jackson looked like as this version of Nick Fury. And I think that's kind of neat. Like, they're showing this part of Nick Fury's life, where at this point he's been, I guess, a behind the desk shield agent for so long. He's just like, yeah, what's the point anymore? I'm just gonna give this up. And then now he's like, this Captain Marvel thing gives him like the ability to go like, huh? Hold on one moment. Crap. Sorry, something went wrong with my computer, so it started loading something, so froze the screen for a second. Sorry about that. Pardon me. Anyway, yeah, the idea that that this business with Carol Danvers is and the Kree is getting him back into the exciting part of the Shield business, and like I wonder if the events of this are going to like we're going to see in this movie how he got his one of his eyes scratched up and useless and needing an eye patch, because that could be neat. Um, and it also gives a certain amount of like cool credence to the idea that how do I put it? It kind of gives this idea that like maybe this was what Nick Fury was talking about when he's like, "Do you think you're?" When he was telling Tony Stark in the first Iron Man movie, "Do you think you're the first superhero?" Now, granted, um, Henry Pym as a Wasp was doing, Henry Pym as Ant-Man, sorry. Uh, you know, Henry Pym, Janet Van Dyne as Ant-Man and the Wasp were doing that kind of thing you know, um, like even before the 80s, like Cold War era, um, they were being superheroes, so maybe it's a reference to that as well. But now it's like, you know, Captain Marvel is another hero he was talking about, and that was something that I thought was kind of that was kind of intriguing in that stinger at the end of the first Iron Man movie was that they flat out said that Iron Man was not the first superhero in this universe, and then they went years before revealing any more. I mean, sure, Captain America, and then years later they're like, oh, by the way, in the Cold War there was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then now they're like, oh, Captain Marvel. But I'm like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And like I mentioned during the trailer, I like the idea that she like crash landed into a blockbuster, because you're like, wait, those don't. It's like, wait, those don't exist anymore. Like, the moment you see that, it's like, oh, this is a period piece of some kind. It's just a matter of how far back this was. And yeah, from everything I'm hearing about this movie, it's set in the 90s. Also, like, I thought it was kind of an interesting choice for the trailer that they had her punching out an old lady on a bus, just like this old granny just knocked out. And what I'm guessing that is, because, and probably not even a spoiler, because this is because like there were glimpses of the scrolls in this trailer, I believe. Um, that maybe that old lady was a Skrull. I hope that's the explanation for why she punches this old lady out. Like, kind of like the, if you'll forgive yet another reference, and to a Marvel adjacent movie, the first Men in Black movie, where Will Smith as Jay was in the was in this shooting range with a whole bunch of top soldiers and all that, and basically shooting everybody that looked like alien. And the one he shot was this what looked like this 8-year-old girl with a textbook. And it's like, and he gave very convincing reasons why she was the only one he shot in the head. But then after that particular speech, he was like, or do I owe her an apology? It's kind of one of those things. So I'm kind of picturing this kind of situation where she's on the bus, she's talking to this old lady on the bus, knocks her right the F out, and then scandalizes everybody, and then and is like, do I owe her an apology? And the and then the old lady on the floor of the bus is just like shapeshifting back into a Skrull. I mean, like, that is certainly a way to sell the idea that the Skrulls can look like anybody. They first appeared in like the second issue of Fantastic Four in 1961. Like, that's how far back they go. And they're finally being seen in movies. They're like Entertainment Weekly posted this picture of them like on a beach, and it was like, oh, these scrolls look good. They're a bit different from the comics. The shape is there. There's more nuance to the complexion. Huh, interesting. But I think that's cool. Anyway, trying to think of anything else about this trailer that I can point to. Oh, Jude Law as far as I know, that's Philip Lawson, an alias for the mar-vell version of Captain Marvel, the original Marvel version of Captain Marvel. Yeah, if you notice, I'm saying Captain Marvel a lot. It's kind of hard to avoid, and the way these characters' history go back in the comics is kind of tangly, to the point where there's also a lot of I kind of have to make a lot of what do you call it? I have to make a lot of I have to give a lot of like detail and disclaimer. But anyway, yeah, Jude Law is in this movie. That's cool. There was this female fighter pilot who was seen by Carol Danvers, and that's I think her name is Maria Rambeau, and she's in this. Like, there's another connection to the Captain Marvel name that they're putting in this movie, and like, I feel like I could give the entire history behind that. I kind of feel like I would be overdoing it. But we'll say this character has history to Captain Marvel, and it's important history, so to say, in the comics. Anyway, this is HR Streaming with a very favorable review of this trailer. I figured it would be, but hey, this is cool. If you like what you've seen, comment, subscribe, leave feedback, follow me on Twitter at HR Streaming, and I'll be back with another YouTube video. And also, you might have seen recently, I've started doing a playthrough of the PlayStation 4 Marvel Spider-Man. That game is great. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I just did I just did the entire Black Cat side mission. I just decided to get that entire thing out of the way. I died a lot, but for reasons that had very little to do with the side mission. That's all I'm gonna say. But I highly recommend this game, guys. And I'm looking forward, I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel when it comes out next year, because it looks good though. And yeah, it's gonna be in competition with Wonder Woman and a few other superhero movies. But honestly, I never thought I'd see the point in society in which Wonder Woman and Carol Danvers get movies in the same year, and they're both amazing, or hopefully amazing. Like, the hype around this is fantastic. Like, oh, before I go, story about Captain Marvel, or just a little tidbit. This, like, the first MCU hint about this movie was in Infinity War, and the very brief glimpse that happened at the end of the at the end of the movie, because I kind of don't want to spoil the details. Even though the movie is now on DVD and I have the DVD, I don't know. Well, without giving details, like, just the symbol of Captain Marvel was glimpsed, and there was this 10-year-old boy he had to have been 10 years old, like in the theater that I was seeing this in, and he just said, "Captain Marvel," and I thought that was cool because, like, in what like that's not how do I say this? Like, chances are he was not reacting to any other version of Captain Marvel but Carol Danvers, and she's been seen a lot in the recent animated Marvel stuff, like Avengers Assemble, Ultimate Spider-Man. Maybe she was in Hulk, Agents of Smash, and Guardians of the Galaxy, that kind of thing. But chances are that's what this kid was reacting to. Just this young child recognized this version of the character right off the bat, and I'm like, I never thought I would see a time when that was possible. Like, this is this is the universe we're living in right now. Like, as much you know awful stuff as is happening out there, this is great. Like, when I was 10 years old, like, I barely knew about any superheroes except for what showed up in cartoons and on lunchboxes. And, like, and even when I started getting into comics at around 12, like, it was years before I even saw Carol Danvers in a comic book. Like in the 90s, she was almost a complete non-entity. Like, I don't recall things she showed up in. Like, I only heard that I only heard that Captain Marvel was a character, and like, yeah, yeah, Carol Danvers was almost completely absent from the '90s, which I think is kind of ironic because this this movie is set in that decade. Like, basically the one decade since Carol Danvers debuted, that she was almost completely absent. Like, the first time she returned to prominence um, in the Iron Man series, and but written by Kurt Busiek in the I think '98, something like that. Yeah. Okay, this video is getting way too long, and I could find so many other things, so many other tidbits to gush about. But yeah, looking forward to Captain Marvel because I really like this. Anyway, see you guys. I will stop recording before I gush again.